Hello everybody and welcome to the 10th video in our series of videos on war and peace in Europe between the years of 1920 and 1945. Today we will finally be looking at the beginning of World War II in Europe, specifically looking at the years of 1939 and 1940. As always, we begin with our learning outcomes, so by the end of this presentation you guys should know what Blitzkrieg is and how it contributed to the defeat of Poland. Second, you guys should know how and why Germany defeated France and what happened at Dunkirk. And third, you guys should know what happened at the Battle of Britain and why Britain won that battle. We have been looking at the path to war that led all the way from the Treaty of Versailles up until the Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact and the German and Soviet invasion of Poland in September of 1939. So today we will be looking at the first battles of World War II. We are going to divide this into 5 sections. First we will look at the invasion of Poland and the tactics employed by the Germans. Then we will look at a period of time in the war known as the PHONEY War. Next we will be looking at the invasion of France. After that, along with the evacuation of Dunkirk, and finally we'll be looking at the Battle of Britain. As I stated before, Germany invaded Poland on the 1st of September 1939, crossing the Polish border in the early hours of the morning without any declaration of war. Germany attacked with 1.5 million troops, and they used a new tactic that decimated the Polish army. This tactic was known as the Blitzkrieg. This roughly translates as lightning war. The Blitzkrieg tactic consists of 3 phases. Phase 1, the German Luftwaffe or Air Force would destroy most of Poland's air force while it was still on the ground, and then they destroyed the roads, the railways, the buildings, the bridges and any defences that were there. In Phase 2, the Panzer Division or the tanks moved quickly into Poland. They bypassed most of the towns and cities, and instead what they focused on was on cutting off the supplies to the Polish army who were stationed on the Western Front against the Germans. And finally, the infantry or foot soldiers advanced and defeated the shell-shocked Polish army. The attack was devastating. Poland had a strong army. They had an army of over 1 million soldiers, but they weren't prepared for the speed and ferocity of the German offensive. They were expecting warfare kind of similar to the trench warfare that had dominated World War I. But the speed of the German advance, it caught other countries off guard too. Britain and France were unable to mobilise troops fast enough to come to the assistance of Poland. Remember, they had both declared war on Germany on the 3rd of September 1939 and had vowed to help Poland, but didn't have enough time to mobilise. Also, the Soviet Union, who had agreed to split Poland with Germany in the Nazi-Soviet non-aggression pact, rushed troops into Poland on the 17th of September to stop Germany advancing into their agreed upon area of influence. Within 5 weeks, on the 6th of October 1939, Poland and its million-strong army had been defeated by combined German and Soviet forces. After this happened, many expected war to continue. However, there was no real fighting in Europe for 6 months, with the Germans and French forces facing each other across the border while they prepared for the next phase of war. There was some fighting between the Soviet Union and Finland, known as the Winter War, in which the Finns successfully repelled the Soviet army, and a peace agreement between both countries was signed in March of 1940. It was at this time was known as the PHONEY War. However, on the 9th of April 1940, Hitler made his move when he captured Denmark in one day, and he invaded Norway by sea the same day. The Germans invaded Norway in order to secure its iron ore supply from neutral Sweden. This is where the iron ore would have come from. The Baltic Sea would freeze in the winter, so they would have to ship it through the Norwegian Sea, and wanted to ensure that they still had access to this ore. It was crucial to their war efforts. The invasion fleets landed at ports in Norway, and German paratroopers were dropped in behind to control key positions. The conflict was very one-sided, and by the 6th of June 1940, Germany had put a German sympathiser known as Vidkun Quisling as the president of Norway. On the 10th of May 1940, Germany finally moved to begin war with France. France had designed a defensive wall known as the Maginot Line along the border with Germany. You can see it here as the continuous red line. They kept weaker fortifications along the border with Luxembourg and Belgium, as they didn't want to seem to be abandoning their allies. They felt that if Germany were to invade, that they would follow a similar plan to the Schlieffen Plan from World War One, where they attacked through the north of Belgium. The French felt that the Maginot Line was impervious. It was impervious to most forms of attack, including aerial bombings and tank fire. They had underground railways as backup. It had state-of-the-art living conditions for the troops, supplied air conditioning and eating areas for their comfort. So the French were happy to have this defensive war. Happy might be a bit of a wrong term there, but they felt that they could have a defensive war here. However, Germany overran the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg, and Britain and France had really concentrated their forces in the north of Belgium and were caught by surprise when Germany attacked France through the Ardennes forest here in the south of France. The Allies had believed that this was an impenetrable terrain that German tanks wouldn't be able to pass through. However, Germany passed through there and encircled the entire French and British forces, marked here. With the Allied armies completely encircled, they were pushed back here to Dunkirk on the coast. Hitler had ordered his troops to stop the advance on the armies, waiting for their surrender. However, Britain and France organised an evacuation of troops known as Operation Dynamo. In Operation Dynamo, all available boats in Britain, from small fishing vessels and yachts to large naval vessels, were sent across the English Channel to try to evacuate troops. Over 330,000 troops were evacuated in 9 days between the 26th of May and the 4th of June, many of the troops there vowing to return to fight the Germans again. So with the armies surrounded and eventually banished from France, Germany easily took the rest of the country. They were able to attack the Maginot Line from behind and take it with relative ease. On the 22nd of June, less than 6 weeks after Germany had launched its offensive, it had taken France, something they had been unable to do in 5 years of fighting in World War One. Hitler made the French sign the terms of surrender in the same railway carriage that Germany had signed its terms of surrender at the end of World War One, to add insult to injury. In terms of surrender, Germany occupied over half of France. It went under direct German rule. This included the city of Paris, while they set up a puppet government in the south of France, which became known as Vichy France, as that's where this puppet government set. Really was just did whatever Hitler had wanted them to do. So during the invasion of France, Neville Chamberlain, the Prime Minister of England, was replaced by Winston Churchill, with his policy of appeasement and execution of the war shown to be a complete and total failure. After Germany defeated France in June of 1940, they went to implement Operation Sea Lion. So Operation Sea Lion was the name of the planned invasion of Britain. The Battle of Britain began on the 10th of July 1940, and the Germans realised to launch a successful invasion of Britain, they would first have to destroy British aerial defences and radar stations. So the Battle of Britain, they targeted airfields and tried to defeat the RAF, or the Royal Air Force, which was the British Air Force. Germany attacked using its Messerschmitt planes. They also had planes called Stukas and Hankels. However, Britain had developed two superior planes known as the Spitfires and Hurricanes, and the planes engaged in what are known as dogfights, up in aerial battles where the planes would be firing at each other. The battle lasted throughout the summer of 1940. On the 13th of August 1940 alone, known as the Day of the Eagle, almost 1,500 German planes attacked Britain. It's estimated overall that Britain lost 1,000 planes during the battle, while Germany lost closer to 2,000. They lost 1,800 planes. Germany eventually abandoned their tactic of trying to defeat the RAF by September of 1940, realizing that they couldn't defeat Britain and sustain this attack on Britain. Instead, they changed their tactics to bombing British cities, known as the Blitz, which we will look at in the next video. So Britain were able to push back against the Germans for two big reasons. As we said, they had the superior planes in the Spitfires and the Hurricanes. And the second important thing that helped them win the battle was that they had developed radar, which gave them an early warning system to German attacks. That brings us to the end of our presentation. So by now you guys should know what Blitzkrieg is and how it contributed to the defeat of Poland. You guys should know how and why Germany defeated France and what happened at Dunkirk. And you guys should know what happened at the Battle of Britain and why Britain won that battle. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys learned something from this video.